I met your girl today. You would be proud of her. She acts a lot like you, though just a bit demure. You would have loved this day, watching the timbers rise, the 100-year-old barn against cerulean sky. I never made too much when I would play your place. Still I could sing my songs and figure out the pace. After we'd shut her down, we'd talk away the night. I'd crash out on your couch to the glow of the wood stove light. Bitter winds pouring in through frosted window panes. Strong coffee in the morning pounding through my veins. It was a world apart, a place of last retreat. Old spooks and the ghost of Grant, hand in hand walking down the street. Hey, I went back last year. You wouldn't know the place. It's a big-time tourist town, not one old familiar face. Remember Willie Fair, that drunk old crazy sot? He passed out and he froze to death in the town that time forgot. We were so hungry then, living life like a travelogue, flying low through the rolling hills in the early morning fog. Appaloosas galloping to granite-studded fields, Clive Brixton on the tape deck to my humming wheels. Was a little girl last time I played for you, but now she's all grown up, a woman in full bloom. You would be proud of her. There's a lot of you I see as she lights another cigarette and she sings my songs with me. Hey, good evening, friends, and welcome to Hickory Ridge Concerts Virtual for our July performance. And we've got a great show for you tonight. Friends of the series, old-time and original folk and bluegrass musicians, the Gordons, will be joining us in just a couple of minutes. And it's always a treat to have them here with us, as we have many times in the past. Now, my wife is in Michigan, so pie baking fell to me today, and sound check went long. So Today's pie is actually going to be Hy-Vee cherry turnovers. This is what you have to put up with when your wife goes away. But it'll be a fine treat anyway. I hope that you have selected the dessert of your choice to share with you and your friends, either during the show or afterwards when we visit with the performers and take questions and share dessert. Now, we are here the third Saturday of the month. We keep waiting to hear word from the state of Illinois about getting back to Dixon Mounds Museum. Doesn't look like any time in the near future, but we'll tell you a little bit more about that. I also want to mention that Hickory Ridge Concerts is supported through your generous donations, and we have had some folks that have truly stepped up to the plate, and I want to really say thank you to them for making that possible. We'll tell you more about that. There's a link that you can send donations to PayPal, or you can send us a check in the mail. Anything works, and we're glad if you can help us out, and we're glad to have you here if you can. Either way. Now, I always like to start off the show with a song. And for this particular one, it's an old tune that goes way, way back in time. It's an old gospel song. There is some question about how far back it goes. It has different words and different melodies to it. I know it as River to Pray. Arlo Guthrie recorded it as Valley to Pray. It was first published in a book of slave songs in the 1860s, and there are some anecdotal references to it going back as far as the 1830s. But it's a wonderful song. Most folks know it from "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou," where those three lovelies use that song to tempt folks. All right, anyway, this is a brand new version of this I just worked up for this show, and it'll be Down to the Valley to Pray. I will mention one point of interest. I've kind of stolen the basic chord structure from the Arlo Guthrie version off of Washington County, his recording. And it was produced by Van Dyke Parker, I believe. The same guy that was the lyricist with the Beach Boys. So that was a little bit cosmic, but this is a little more stripped down. Valley to Pray. Down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who will share the Mormon crown. Oh Lord, show me the way. Oh sisters, let's go down. Come on down, don't you wanna go down? Oh sisters, let's go down, down to the river to pray. As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who will wear the starry crown. Oh Lord, show me the way. Oh brothers, let's go down. Come on down, don't you wanna go down? Oh brothers, let's go down, down to the valley to pray. As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who will wear the robe and crown. Oh Lord, show me the way. Oh fathers, let's go down. Come on down, don't you wanna go down? Oh fathers, let's go down, down to the river to pray. As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who will wear the robe and crown. Oh Lord, show me the way. Oh mothers, let's go down. Come on down, don't you wanna go down? Oh mothers, let's go down, down to the river to pray. As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, robe and crown. Oh Lord, show me the way. Oh sinners, let's go down. Come on down. Don't you wanna go down? Oh sinners, let's go down, down to the river to pray. Oh sinners, let's go down. Come on down. Don't you wanna go down? Oh sinners, let's go down, down to the river to pray. All right, Valley to Pray, River to Pray, whatever you want to call it. Grand old song, and I just love that chord progression. Well, our headline performers tonight come from Southern Illinois, and as I mentioned, they've been friends of the series for many, many years. I can't even tell you how long ago I first met Gary and Roberta Gordon, but they have this incredible ability to bring old-time music to the present day with new original pieces of music that sound like the Appalachian Mountains. You can just hear it in their playing and their singing. So it's always a treat to have them here. Please join me in welcoming Gary and Roberta Gordon. Well, hey, Gary. Hey, Roberta. How you folks doing?
Thank you so much, Chris, and thanks for having us, folks. We're glad to be up with the Hickory Ridge
Glad
Show
to have you
again tonight. Here's
Yeah,
one that
been
we
a while
wrote a
since
few
we-
years back, and we had a pet
Okay.
squirrel during that time that lived in the house with us. Roberta got him, kind of saved his life when he was a little bitty, and gosh, he loved our music, and would sit on my shoulder and sometimes on my arm and stuff. It really relaxed around the house with us. This was his favorite song. Oh, by the way, his name was Baby, and this was Baby's favorite tune. We hope you'll enjoy it. One called "Sing With Me." 2. Come to me, my arms are wide. Rest your head and clear your mind. Could I touch your heart of gold with a song from my soul? Sing, sing with me, lonely will be gone. Come, come to me, together we belong. Life is but a song. Let me calm the fear you hide. It's the same from each side. Music takes it all away, with melodies of love to play. Sing, sing with me, lonely will be gone. Come, come, come to me, together we belong. Life is but a song. People say things they don't mean. We're like children underneath. It is love for which we long. We can find it in a song. Sing, sing with me, lonely will be gone. Come, come to me, together we belong. Life is but a song. Come to me, my arms are wide. Rest your head and clear your mind. Could I touch your heart of gold with a song from my soul?
And we mean it.
Not kidding you a bit here, but sometimes if we're out on the deck playing some music together, especially if I got my dobro with me, our squirrel would come out and he'd sit out there on a limb, and once he moved up back in the woods, he'd sit on a limb and give us a good listen. And it was, we loved him so much, and he not only loved us, but he loved this kind of music. Here's one that we wrote, oh gosh, been a pretty good while now, and we had the help of Barry and Holly Tashin. They helped us out a little bit with this song, one called After All This Time. 2, 3, 4, 1. In the shadow of the street light, by the flash of the headlight, in the glow of the moonlight, I can almost read the sign. Am I really on the right road? I feel the rumble of the cobblestone. Can't believe I'm going home after all this time. My thoughts are tied to the place I long to be. My eyes are open wide, I can almost see the split rail fence and the willow tree. Life can pass you in a heartbeat, turning dry as the winter wind. Coming home so bittersweet, like an old love song. Lord knows I see so many storms. Will my family give me open arms? Could I ever find a place so warm? I've been away too long. My thoughts are tied to the place I long to be. My eyes are open wide, I can almost see the split rail fence and the willow tree. There's a lamp in the window, giving light to the falling snow. No matter how far I go, this will always be home. In the shadow of the street light, by the flash of the headlight, in the glow of the moonlight, I can almost read the sign. I can't believe I'm going home after all this time. After all this time.
Yeah, it had a happy ending.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has to leave home. And they appreciate it.
Here's a rather recent song. Roberta and I wrote it, I guess we wrote it last year maybe. One called Over and Over Again. 2, 3, and... Time after time, time and again, I come to him asking for comfort within. He lifts me up in a spiritual wind. High above valleys I've fallen in. Over and over and over again, my sweet Savior beckons me in. He never asks why or where I've been. Over and over and over again. He brings me peace away from the fear. He takes me in to drown my tears. When my burdens are too hard to bear, He washes my face with water so clear. Over and over and over again, my sweet Savior beckons me in. He never asks why or where I've been. Over and over and over again. Everlasting endlessly, He takes my place, sharing my sorrow, giving me grace. Over and over and over again, He gives me hope my soul can't ascend. He gives me strength and love without end. My broken heart He always bears. Over and over and over again, my sweet Savior beckons me in. He never asks why or where I've been. Over and over and over again. Over and over and over again. Over and over and over again. Yep.
Yep, it's the truth.
This podcasting, pod concerting's a little bit different. I really
Pod concert.
missed just looking out at the rows of folks and seeing them smile. And I love that about
So I hope
performing
you're
live.
smiling.
Yeah,
out
be
there.
smiling.
I think they might be.
Yeah, I kind of feel it.
Smiling at your pretty faces.
How about if we do Lincoln's Funeral Train?
Oh,
Roberta?
sure. It's a sad song,
Okay.
but
This is one from our CD called Our Time, about the sad death of Abe Lincoln and the train that carried him back home to Springfield. On the 21st of April, 1865, 331 left Washington for Lincoln's last train ride. Cannons boom, bonfires burn, the evergreens wore crepe. 3:31 in the morning sun did her sad journey make. See that train coming, boys, rolling down Main. Draped in black, she won't be back. It's Lincoln's funeral train. With a portrait of a martyr man shot down by a traitor. Lord told the bell, bid farewell to the great emancipator. And on the locomotive front, his picture did adorn it. In the old lamps gleaming yellow light, a rumbling on to morning. The engine Nashville number 15 with her black flag flying ran from Cleveland to Springfield past the mourners crying. See that train a-comin', boys, roll down Main. Draped in black, she won't be back. It's Lincoln's funeral train. With a portrait of a martyr man shot down by a traitor. Now told the bell, bid farewell to the great emancipator. jammed the streets for a final look at the great man who had stood at our country's helm through the bitter war. It seemed of little good. Felled by a bullet from John Wilkes Booth as the battles died away, his guiding spirit to reconcile his absence brought dismay. See that train coming, boys, rolling down Main. Draped in black, she won't be back. It's Lincoln's funeral train. With a portrait of a martyred man shot down by a traitor. So the bell bid farewell to the great emancipator. Now toll the bell, bid farewell to the great emancipator.
Hi, Paul. That was lovely.
It sounded good to me too. Hope y'all enjoyed that one. Well, I'm gonna go back towards the holiday season about, probably about 6 years ago or more. We've got a grocery store just pretty close to where we're at here in the studio, and I was shopping, just doing some last minute shopping in the store, and boy, it was crawling with people. Hard to get through the aisles and stuff. And I couldn't help but notice a man that had these crutches that were kind of hooked on both arms, made of aluminum, and he was having a lot of trouble getting around and doing his shopping, but he was trying to manage. And then, just be my nature, I looked over and I saw a great big woman with a motorcycle jacket on and chains on and stuff, and big railroad looking boots that looked to me like she was, to me, looked real rough. So I was kind of keeping my eye on her. But couldn't help thinking about the old fellow having trouble with these crutches getting around shopping. Well, anyway, I got my few items that I needed, and there I was at the checkout counter, and right in front of me was the really rough looking lady. Kind of scared me a little bit. And ahead of her was the crippled man. And the checkout lady said to the crippled man, she said, "Sir, this ain't enough. There's not enough here." And he was just about to reach down in these pockets, and say, "Well, let me look here." And before he could really start that conversation, the lady ahead of me grabbed her wallet by the chain, pulled it out and said, "How much you need? I got him covered." And I thought, whoa, boy, that's a lesson I'm needing. Thank you, Lord, because I really needed that right then a lot. I've never forgot it. But thankfully, the Lord gave me a little gift for that, and this song come out of it. The song, it starts with that scenario, but it also covers a little bit of how it is living out in the country and in small towns where you know so many people. You're always shaking hands and waving at folks, and you got friends all over the place, and a lot of times you have an opportunity to help somebody. You might see them on the sidewalk, or maybe you'll get a phone call and somebody maybe just needs you to listen or something. But that's something we do around here. The next scenario, next part of the song, comes from a time I was working at our son's recording studio. It's down on a place called Music Row in Nashville, and the folks that work in that area, they're very wealthy. So the car lot, you see your BMWs and Mercedes and Jaguars and stuff, and it's well-to-do folks and stars that are working right there in that area. And I was just getting ready to make my left turn and pull down to the studio to where I had a recording session. and a beggar got up. The light went red, and a beggar lady got up she was sitting propped up against the light, and she handed me a religious folder. And I gave her not much. I think I probably gave her a $10 bill. And she acted like it really meant a lot to her. And I thanked her. And I got a chance to read through that during the days that I was working in the studio. And it helped me a lot more than the $10 helped her. So what I'm coming to is how we see God in the faces of others. Sometimes it's our friends. Often it is. But it's often folks you don't know, and it's often folks that I don't expect to see the love of God in. But the love of God just keeps on shining through, keeps giving us hope. Let me get this cape on and situated. Now I might have to tune just a tad, and I'll play you this song that I've been telling you about how we see God in others.
Called God Looked at Me.
Thank you, Roberta. He said the last thing I remember, I was young and strong. Hadn't been that long ago, now those days are gone. Could you help me, stranger? Thank you for your time. When I picked up his grocery bag, God looked me in the eye. God looked at me. I saw him face to face. I was there at the right time. My heart was in the right place. God looked at me. I've heard the saddest news, she said. I'm all tremble now. My dearest friend in all the world passed away somehow. I held her hand and told her things will be okay. I'll stay with you a little while. I'll help you find your way. God looked at me. I saw him face to face. I was there at the right time. My heart was in the right place. God looked at me. I've been down on my luck. Could you spare some change? Help me get back on track so I won't feel the pain. You see, the wine, it helps me forget my broken dreams. I reached down in my pocket. I said, go get what you need. God looked at me. I saw him face to face. I was there at the right time. My heart was in the right place. God looked at me. If I fail to help a man, I could miss the chance to see the loving face of God in a stranger's glance. God looked at me. I saw him face to face. I was there at the right time. My heart was in the right place. God looked at me. Yes, I was there at the right time. My heart was in the right place. God looked at me. Yeah, there's another little story there.
Good song, Gary.
Oh, thank you. over the years, sometimes we'd get a chance to do a gig with John Hartford, and we really took a shine to him. We really liked him, and such an interesting character. And I love his music, so we're going to do this in tribute to John Hartford, one that John had written. It's an older song, one called Part of Your History. I always knew you'd do great things. I didn't ever want to slow you down. I was there when you learned to use your wings. I saw you leave the ground. The times I spent in your sweet arms, they were the best times I've known. And maybe the reason that I'm here at all is to help you carry on. Don't you know, I still remember when once I was someone to you. You were meant for something better. Doesn't matter anymore what you think of me. I'm proud to be part of your history. I knew the time was coming soon. You were growing up so fast. Sometimes you can lose so much when you try and make it last. The times I spent in your sweet arms, they were the best times I've known. And maybe the reason that I'm here at all is to help you carry on. Don't you know, I still remember when once I was someone to you. You were meant for something better. Doesn't matter anymore what you think of me. I'm proud to be a part of your history. I always knew you'd do great things. I didn't ever want to slow you down. I was there when you learned to use your wings. I saw you leave the ground. The times I spent in your sweet arms, those were the best times that I've known. And maybe the reason that I'm here at all is to help you carry on. Don't you know, I still remember when once I was someone to you. You were meant for something better. Doesn't matter anymore what you think of me. I'm proud to be a part of your history. Part of your history.
this is Gary Gordon.
Yeah, this is Roberta.
I'm
Gordon right
Roberta
here.
Gordon. And that's Polly Lanay. And she is a wonderful friend of ours and fiddle player.
Hello.
Yeah, I forgot we never told you who we were. Chris just said the Gordons. Gary and I met when we were 14 years old. Yep. We got married when we were 17.
Nice.
And the first Christmas, well, we were married in January, in January 29th. And so it would have been a full year later for Christmas. He bought me an auto harp. And I thought I was getting a sewing machine.
Yeah, I had the shipping weight of the sewing machine, and I knew she was wanting it bad. And I hated to let her down on that count. But I put some bricks in there to make that box exactly the weight that the sewing machine would be.
And we had a checkbook, and in the old days there was a stub, so you knew what
exactly
amounts
what it
were
cost.
written, and it was about the same price as a sewing
I'm
machine.
thinking it was $74. But
Probably right
it was
in
right
there.
about that. Yeah, it was a lot of money, I guarantee you that.
Well, I got that
quite a
sewing
lot.
machine anyway, but
Yeah.
it's really been a great life, and we celebrated 50 years of being married January the 29th.
And we paid the auto harp off, too.
And that sewing machine, I kept it. It's just sentimental. It does not even work. It breaks threads, you know. But I keep it. It's in the back of the closet. I do have a new one. And
Roberta's wore out a few auto harps. She's got a
a
few.
few sewing machines, too. I love to sew.
That's right. So, yeah, I'm thinking maybe we'll do another one that we wrote. We don't play all originals, but tonight we're going to do a good few originals. This is one that we wrote with Roberta's grandmother in mind. She lived right close to, in her latter years, right close to where we're at right now, just within a block. And boy, when I go by her house, I sure miss her. She was just fantastic.
And the whole
Clara.
story is true, you
Yeah.
know. She raised her brothers, you know, from the time she was 11. And it's just all of it's true. The only artistic liberty that I took was that she was from the mountains, and we are on the flatland. Here's the farmland, so.
She was on a ridge.
She was on a
she was
higher
up on a
part,
pretty good ridge.
yeah.
You could see it for a long. You see a long
It
ways.
wasn't
from
a
up there.
mountain,
No,
so.
sure wasn't. This is one called "Poor Little Girl." Hope you like the way we do it. And if you notice that we're rusty, you know that'd be because we are. We've not done a lot of music together. In fact, very little music together in front of people, or even things like this. And boy, it seems like maybe 16 or 17 months, just a few. So forgive us if we're a little bit rusty. One called "The Poor Little Girl." I'm just a poor little mountain girl, no pretty clothes to wear. My hair is plain without one curl to fall my shoulders bare. I cannot read a book, you see. For school there is no time. My chores are many, day till night, to care for brothers of mine. My age is barely 11 years. Mother passed when I was 9. Daddy works the livelong day down in the dreary mine. I am left alone to make a home for brothers dear. I comb their hair and hold take me home. I'll have no chores the live long day, never be left alone. I'll bake no bread nor sweep the floor. My day will fill with play. I'll be a child with mother there, younger than today. I'll be a child with mother there, younger than today. Well, we hope you enjoyed that. Those minor ones kind of have a little bit of a sad sound to them. But you know, sometimes that'll make you happy, end result. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
I love minor songs.
Yeah, me too. So, here's one that Roberta got started a few years ago. And there at the kitchen table is where we finished it up. And I think the next day...
Wrote it on a piece of paper.
Yeah, we wrote it down. I think the next day we went into our concert series, which at that time was at the library. It was called the Save Our Library series, and by grab we did.
Yeah, it's
There's
still going.
Still going. There's
Yeah.
children sitting in there on some days too. It's one called the Music Tree. Sing along if you feel up to it.
Years fly by, but days are long. Lord knows we sing so many songs. Some play sad, some ring true, some reach for the sky to see us through. A song for you and one for me,
From the root of all good
grows the music tree. Music helps us to belong, heals the soul, and keeps us strong. It makes sense in a world of strife, of joy and pain throughout our life. A song for you, one for me,
from the root of all good
grows the music tree. Love plays music all the time. Listen close and you will find peace of mind and harmony, living in the shade of the music tree. A song for you and one for me,
from the root of all good
grows the music tree.
Someday we'll cross the Jordan wide, with our Savior we'll abide, singing our song eternally,
Picking fruit off the music tree.
picking fruit
Off the music tree.
Well,
Now the
I
heaven's
thought
gonna
I
just
could.
be full of them music trees.
I
I
hope
bet
so.
you.
I hope it will be. I think I heard a few folks singing along.
I think
not
I
mistaken.
did too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Well, I'm going to do you one that Roberta and I was at Tralee, which is on the very south coast of Ireland. The next thing there's the beach. We were at a pub there. It was after hours. We had finished our concert somewhere in, gosh, I don't know where it could have been. Kilkenny, maybe.
Maybe.
And then drove down to Tralee. And over in Ireland, when it hits about 11 o'clock, they don't close up. They just close the door. So if you know somebody there, or knock a certain way or something.
And if you're in there, then you can't get out.
Well, you might be able to get out. But anyway, we got in. We got down there about maybe midnight or so, and there's still quite a bit of fun to be had. And we heard a couple Irish boat builders making music, real good music together. And this is one of them that they played for us. And we come back, and when we got back home, we learned it. Norman Blake wrote it from the state of Georgia. One called Ginseng Sullivan. About 3 miles from the Battle Yard on the reverse curve on down, not far south of the town depot, Sullivan's shack was found, back on higher ground. You could see him every day, walking down the line, with an old tow sack across his back, long hair down behind, speaking his weary mind. It's a long way to the Delta from the North Georgia hills, and a tow sack full of ginseng, pay me no traveling bill. I'm too old to ride the red from the road along. I guess I'll never make it back to home. My muddy water Mississippi Delta home, Lord. Winters here get too cold, the damp it makes me ill. Can't dig no root on a mountainside with the ground froze hard as steel. Gotta stay at the foot of a hill. But next summer if things turn right, the company might pay high. I'll make enough money to pay my bills, bid these mountains goodbye. Then I'll sing with a sigh. It's a long way to the Delta from the North Georgia hills, and a tow sack full of ginseng, pay me no traveling bill. I'm too old to ride the red from the road along. I guess I'll never make it back to home. My muddy water Mississippi Delta home, Polly Fiddle. Long way to the Delta from the North Georgia hills, and a tow sack full of ginseng, it'll pay me no traveling bill. I'm too old to ride the red from the road along. I guess I'll never make it on back home. My muddy water Mississippi Delta home, good Lord. My muddy water Mississippi Delta home. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
I think Roberta's itching to sing one.
One more song? We
Okay.
got time for one more?
I think we got just work out about right, won't it?
It will. Can it be a long one or a short one?
Yes, it can be a long one.
Okay. Let's do.
Let's do a little Tennessee stud. That's
Okay.
pretty short.
Yeah, because it's fast.
Maybe that's close enough.
Okay, good
2,
enough.
3.
Along about 1825, I left Tennessee very much alive, and I never would have got through the Arkansas mud if I hadn't been riding a Tennessee stud. Well, I had some trouble with my sweetheart's pa. One of her brothers was a bad outlaw, and I said, girl, let her buy my
had the nerve and he had the blood.
And there never was a horse like the Tennessee stud. Well, I got just as lonesome as a man can be, dreaming of my girl in Tennessee. And the Tennessee stud's green eyes turned blue. He was a dreamer.
That was sweetheart too.
Well, I rode right back across Arkansas. I whipped her brother and I whipped her pa. And when I found that girl with golden hair, she was a right good Tennessee ranger.
Tennessee stud was long and lean, the color of the sun.
And his eyes were green.
He had the nerve and he had the blood.
And there never was a horse like the Tennessee stud. Let's stare when side by side we crossed them mountains up the valleys wide. We came to big muddy, then we forded a flood on the Tennessee mare and the Tennessee stud. There's a pretty little baby on the cabin floor and a little heart's going round the door. I love that girl with golden hair and the Tennessee stud loves the Tennessee mare.
Tennessee stud was long and lean,
The color of the sun and his eyes were green.
he had the nerve and he had the blood.
And there never was a horse like the Tennessee stud.
All righty, well done. All right, Gary and Roberta have to get on their headphones so they can hear me. While they are doing that, let me tell you that Hickory Ridge Concerts Virtual is supported in part by a grant from the Illinois Arts Council and the Two Rivers Arts
that
Council,
went quick, didn't it?
also the National Endowment for the Arts, and we thank them for their support. You can support us as well with your donations. There's a PayPal link that goes directly to the Hickory Ridge Concerts account, or you can send a paper check via snail mail. It all works. Send me a box full of pennies. I'm not proud. All right. So you guys can hear me now?
I
Real good.
can't.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, wow, what a delightful show as usual.
Thank you.
It's been a while since I've heard you. I appreciate the comments about feeling a little rusty. But you know, I think that's just part of what we've all been dealing with. And
Oh,
it's like riding a bike. The first time you're going to bruise yourself, but second time you're going to do better.
I got bruised a few times.
Yeah, we're bruised a little.
Yeah.
Now, I'd like to have you hand the headphones over to Pauline and well, first of all, introduce Pauline and ask her to,
Chris.
what is it? Polly?
P-O-double-L.
Oh, okay.
Polly.
Okay, well, see, that's
Like
why you
Pretty
need to
Polly.
introduce her because I couldn't hear that before.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Pretty
So
Polly.
tell her, tell folks who she is and then let her say hi a little bit. Give her the headphone for a second. I'll ask her a little bit about what she's doing.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, Polly's our dear friend from up the road and to the east of us, near Mount Vernon. She's
Oh, sure.
real busy playing fiddle almost every day. We work in the studio quite a bit together. We play a few. We haven't been playing much live, but Polly has been working live because she does quite a
All
lot
around.
of solo shows.
She's all around.
I'm going to
terrific
introduce you,
person.
Polly Lone, and here's the headset, Polly.
She's a mom. She's a superwoman. She
Hi,
does
Chris.
everything.
Hi, Polly. Really, really beautiful playing. Very
Appreciate it.
tasteful.
Thank
Um,
you.
You know, it just adds such a beautiful dynamic. I love the little chunk, the little
Yeah.
rhythmic stuff you were throwing in there.
Just adds
so-
a little extra level of
It does.
percussion there.
Yeah, yeah. It can a whole new depth to the music. Now, Gary mentioned you're from around the area of Mount Vernon,
Yes, sir.
out in the country, in town.
Actually more rural, not in town. We're out about 6 miles east outside of town, so I'd like to be more out in the country, but
Yeah, I can appreciate that.
yeah, the older I get, the more I enjoy the peacefulness a little bit more.
I spent a lot of years living in the country, and then when I got married, had a family, we had to move into town, of course. But I really felt connected in the country in a way that I don't even in a small town.
Right.
there's something about being out there constantly.
Yes,
So
it's,
now- Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say I'm a runner, so I run, every morning, and I like to be away from traffic, away from people, just
Yeah.
enjoy the scenery, the nature, So yeah, I enjoy the peacefulness.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your style of playing. Are you classically trained? Are you a fiddler or a violinist?
I'm both. I do classical music. I was classically trained, so I do classical, bluegrass, jazz, rock, country, Celtic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to
I
do a lot of
enjoy
different
it.
styles to play
Yes.
to pay the bills.
Exactly. So I'd say probably jazz and bluegrass are my two favorites. So
Wonderful.
but, yeah.
All right. Now let me share as I mentioned, I don't have pie tonight. What I have is a cherry popover from Hy-Vee. It's not going to be as good as pie, but it's better than nothing. So
Oh, boy.
you guys have cookies, don't you?
Yeah,
Grab some
good
cookies.
ones.
Yeah.
Got some
Got to
good
eat
cookies.
along. I mean, that's part of the deal here.
We'll get that
Grab,
box of
grab the
over
cookies,
there.
Roberta.
Now, while Roberta's getting the cookies, let me go ahead and ask everybody a question.
Okay.
Miss
One of our
Paul,
audience was asking about the instruments you're playing, and if you could tell a little bit about them. And I want to start off, Gary, because I happen to know you're playing a Gurian guitar. And I know that is a very special guitar that has quite a history to it. So why don't you start off talking a little bit about that, and then we'll bring in Roberta and Polly.
Well, when I was a boy, I just completely was knocked out by Doc Watson. I had heard bluegrass, and of course, lots of country and bluegrass, because Dad listened to it quite a bit. We were in the truck together. I just kind of grew up on the farm, and that meant I was with Dad a lot. So we listened to the radio anytime we could. I loved country music, and a little bit later on, we were hearing Jim and Jesse and Doc Watson and stuff. And
Yeah.
I fell in love with it. And I learned that Doc was playing the Gallagher guitars, so I reached
Gallagher.
just a little, and I found where those were made in Wartrace, Tennessee, and I called up Mr. Gallagher and talked with him about making me a guitar, and he said, "Oh yeah, I'd be glad to. Probably have it ready for you in about 15 months." And I thought, now that's a pretty long wait, but I figured it'd be worth waiting on. And this guitar that I have is, it's not the one that Doc started playing, but it's the one that they designed with a lot of input from Doc Watson. They actually built him the guitar that he wanted specifically for him after he had been playing Gallagher's for a little while. And this is the Doc Watson model that I'm playing. It's a little bit of a stretch for me today because I've been playing my old Gallagher, which is exactly like Doc's first guitar, and the neck on that one's a little bit thinner, a little bit, you don't have to stretch as far. So once in a while, if you hear me miss a note, that's it. I'll blame it on that. A little bit different reach.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. My
yeah,
two
the-
callings have
yeah.
slightly different widths on their necks, and I've got to actually run through a song once to get my fingers reacclimated.
Yeah. Makes a little
And
bit
I've
of
forgotten
difference.
Gallagher was the guitar, not Gurian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually Gallagher.
Yeah.
And Don Gallagher retired, but some folks have taken the company, and they're just brilliant. They're just sweet as they can be down there, and if somebody's looking for a guitar, they make a good one.
Yes,
Roberta,
indeed.
What is that thing you play? That's kind of an unusual thing, ain't it?
Why, this here's an auto harp. And it's an American-born instrument.
Why don't you hold it up and see it, get a good look at it?
And
Yeah, go ahead and
I'm gonna
give her
show
one of the
you that.
headphones.
Yeah, I was gonna say, here, I can get them.
Hi, Chris. I was going to show you the back also. I don't know if you can see it, but it has all of the finish off. Not been abused, just from being up against my chest, I guess. And I've had this one since 1983.
I think I'm
believe.
going to say about 77. That one.
Oh no, I got this one when I got back from
That one?
Carolina, I believe.
Well,
Maybe.
I bought them all for you.
Oh well, we can't remember, but it's old.
Yeah, it's an old
It's
one.
an old one, and it's a good one. It'll stay in tune for me.
Yep, it's made in America.
Now, those are tuned to specific keys, right?
Yes, and sure.
And
I'll give you
explain
a
how the
lesson.
buttons work to folks that aren't familiar with them.
Okay, inside of it, there are bars that go the full length of the strings, and there's felts cut out and to the back of those bars that mute the strings that should not sound within a chord. So, anytime I get to do it the lazy way, to get a chord rather than torture your fingers like the guys on the guitar, I just push a button, and there's my G, there's my C, and there's my E. It's 3 full octaves. It's just very simple. It would be a great instrument to start a child in music, and they used them in the schools for many years. They were very popular in the 30s and 40s. And I just move my fingers up one button, and I'm in the key of C. I move the 3 up. I'm in the key of F then.
Nice.
And then it has minors and sevenths on the next row. So it's a fun thing. And I think you notice an auto harp when it's not there.
I actually notice an auto harp whenever I hear it. That song that I was doing to open with, Valley to Pray, opens with an auto harp zing like you were just doing, and it's played all through that.
Yeah.
And of course, the auto harp always makes me think of Mother Maybelle Carter, who played one in her later years. But there are a lot of great auto harp players. Of course, Brian Bowers.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and it's just a really beautiful sounding instrument, one that you don't see all that often, but I always notice it when I see it.
They're fun. They're beautiful in a room. You know, they were played at home, and that's when they sound the prettiest, is in the living room with everybody gathered around. And it's been a joy to me, and something to complement our singing. I love singing foremost, and Gary was talking about his music influences. Well, I grew up on country music, and of course my dad loved it. But I guess my next influence was when the Beatles hit.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I learned to sing harmony with the Beatles. I play those records over and over and pick out whose part was singing harmony, and I would learn the harmony part. That's who I give credit to.
That's very interesting, because when I hear you sing harmony, I hear some very traditional Appalachian style voicings, the way you're putting the parts together. It has that almost minor, slightly dissonant sound that I think of it in really hardcore traditional mountain music. And that's
right. As we began playing music together, yes, that was my influence, you know, was the bluegrass. And I really leaned towards Ralph Stanley and and the Clinch Mountain Boys. That's the sound that raised the hair on my arm and that I loved. So yeah, the mountain music.
Yeah. Now I know both you and Gary write. A lot of the material that you shared with us tonight are your original songs, and they're beautiful pieces. I love story songs, you know. But what I really love about them is that they have that same simple but effective feel of old time music, but it's new music.
Thanks. Yes.
And I love to see that. There's a whole generation of musicians picking that up.
Yeah, I guess it isn't even contrived. That's just what comes out of us, because I am basic. I'm a basic, you know, all of my influences have been country. And then we were influenced greatly. We'd go into Missouri, and they were a leading bluegrass music state, and we learned from the old timers there that let us play with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, they put their stamp on us, the old timers in bluegrass.
That's so important. You know, I think that we learn from the people that came before us, and we carry that tradition forward and turn it into a new tradition. And hopefully there'll be a generation down the road that's going to repeat that process and learn from us.
I know, and you can tell any story, and it's been told before. Some other human being, you know, decades ago had that same hurt or that same loss or whatever, and put it to the mountain music, and we write the songs, but it's gonna come out old.
Well, I did a songwriting school with the folk singer Bob Gibson years ago down at the Kerrville Folk Festival.
Yeah, Meridian's pop.
Yeah, and he made that very similar comment. It's all been done before. Nothing is new. Your job is to tell it through your interpretation of it, to tell your version of that story. And I thought that was just such a wise statement, really resonated well.
I love the way you tell a story in song, Chris. I really like.
Well, I appreciate that.
You're great at that.
Yeah, I stole a few licks in my time as well. I think my influences, I didn't have as much direct contact with the old time players, but the people that really resonated to me were the singer-songwriters that treated it like a work of art. Guy Clark, Michael Smith up in Chicago, Steve Goodman. These people had the craft of songwriting at such a high level, and then they had their own unique perspective and stamp on it as well.
Yeah.
That's kind of the thing I've always tried to emulate. Mm-hmm. Now, I love Lincoln's Funeral Train, which you did. And, of course, I recorded that on my Lincoln project as well.
Yeah.
And Blake's song, isn't it?
Yeah, Norman has a cut of it. Yep. I don't know if he wrote that.
I thought he did write it.
I think you're right, Chris. Yes.
And I want to say the first time I heard it was, didn't he and Tony Rice do an album together? And maybe it was on that?
Yeah, I know you're right because I remember contacting Tut Taylor, who administered the publishing for Norman Blake, about that when we recorded that. Tutwiler Music is the publisher on that.
Oh, I'll be darned. Yeah, I just did publishing through his agent, and he just said, "Send me the check." I don't know if Norman ever got it or not.
Hard to say.
So much of Norman's music really seems in line with the things that you do. He's got
one of our heroes.
Yeah,
he's the whole package.
He really is.
Yeah, the whole package.
Yeah, well, it's funny because we've never sat down with one of his records or anything and tried to learn anything.
You kind of get the words, but then you kind of do them
we've never done that. In fact, we almost never do that anyway, regardless of what artist, but we've definitely not done that with Norman.
But wow, do I admire
But
him.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Love it, love his stuff.
I'm kind of like you in that regard. I don't want to copy somebody's arrangement. So like when I did Valley to Pray Today, I went and listened to the arrangement Guthrie did because he had these really unusual chord changes, the 7 down to the 4, which you never hear anywhere. And I wanted to include those. But then that's it. And then I've got to play it 200 times or something to let whatever my own style is kind of rearrange it around that.
Right.
And I think that's something that any real artist needs to do. You need to make your version of it, put your personal stamp on it.
Right.
And that's the difference between you taking a song and moving it forward or just, covering it.
Especially with traditional stuff because it can evolve again through you a little
Oh,
bit.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because a lot of these things, well, some of the songs that we do, not a lot today, but some of them that we do are written back in the 20s and 30s. And we're letting it evolve some through
some of those are earlier than that, I think, because
probably
seems to me that we did a track, Gypsy Davy, that you did at the Bishop Hill Folklife Festival.
Yeah.
And that was the one we put onto the record. Isn't that a much older traditional tune?
Real old. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking so.
We found out from the group Dervish that it goes, they don't even know how old, but maybe a few hundred years old or better.
Well, that's the thing about some of these traditional songs. They resonate in ways that go beyond a lifetime. It's that same sort of thing that you were saying that everyone has the same emotions and the same basic feelings that we had generations ago. Mm-hmm. But sometimes somebody or group of people crafts that song in such a way that it translates over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the beauty.
Chris, I'm really, I'm taking heart because just lately there's been some children that have responded to our music in ways that makes you
wonderful.
Feel good. And when it's little kids, it really makes you feel good.
Yeah.
We had a young boy, I guess he was about 8, and we had finished the song, and he came up and he said, "What is that?" And I said, "The instrument that she plays?" "No, the music you're singing. What is that?" He'd never heard anything like it, and he was noticing it.
Mm-hmm.
So we just tried, like we're doing right here, just
Yeah.
kind of tell him about it a little bit. And I think
Yeah.
a kid would have to love it to even come up and ask you or to mention it, a
And-
little kid.
I'm so excited when that happens.
Yeah.
You get that sense that this will continue.
Right.
I did a show at Clayville, the Clayville Folk Life site. It's a living history site.
Yeah, been out there. Nice place.
Yeah. Yeah, well, they've refurbished it and it's back up again and going.
Cool.
And I was out there. It was one of the first live shows I did this summer, outdoor kind of a thing. And there was a young girl there. And I want to guess she was maybe 10. And her mom was with her. And somebody got word to me that she had seen a live stream and she had to come out and hear. And she wanted me to do Shawneetown, But it was just one of those things where I made sure to give her a CD. But I mean, when you get a young person excited about that, you want to fan that flame for all it's worth, because it can have such a big impact on their lives.
Sure can.
Gives them
Yeah.
joy, no matter what.
Yeah. So hey, you mentioned working with John Hartford, and again, one of my all-time favorites. I got to work with him a bit when I was on the Riverboat Twilight and a few other times.
It's hard
But-
to beat.
Yeah, that he's a heck of a musician. Was he an influence in your writing and playing in any way?
Yeah. Yeah, he would have been. The relaxed, because he was the most relaxed with his delivery.
Yeah.
And it's a 180 from what happens today when you see modern string bands.
Yeah.
That feel's not there at all. So the feel that he brought, I just think it brought a lot of peace to his songs and peace to the audience. It was a happy thing. Even if it was a sad song, people they're still feeling good.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And that was he had a great stage presence.
Yeah.
Very laid back, like you say, but he always
Really?
turned it into a show. It wasn't just standing there
Sure
singing
did.
songs. He's going to be dancing. He's going to get you clapping along. He's going to get you doing something.
Yeah.
But a huge influence on so many people's music, and sure do miss him.
Yeah, I remember we were back, we spent a little bit of time backstage, of course, through the years, but one time a lady came to him and said, "What are you going to do, John?" And he said, "Oh, I won't know till I get out there and get a look at y'all." I guess he based his songs on how the audience, you gotta read the crowd.
I do.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, it really is. It's I struggle if there's, and one thing I hate more than anything else is making a set list, because once I get in there and start to ponder, I need the right combination and shifts of this and that.
Yeah.
I'll drive myself nuts.
It makes it tough.
It
We're
does.
looking at a list here. We got one off camera.
Yeah.
But it's that security blanket. What I find is that I will struggle for a day and make the perfect set, and I'll walk out, do the first song, and look and go,
Yeah.
"Oh no, throw it away."
Right.
But
Sometimes
I
Gotta
got
look
the
at the crowd.
But I got the security blanket of having had that there, and yeah, it's always interesting and challenging. That's for sure.
And you might write down an old song that you haven't done in quite a while, or something
Yeah.
like that.
Well, that's I do love going back and redoing stuff that I haven't done in a while.
Yep.
It kind of keeps you in touch with those influences that we were talking about.
Yeah, we're going to do that today. We have one planned that I don't even know if I can do it. We'll find out, I guess.
Oh, good.
We had played years ago.
So one of the songs, and this is one that you wrote, as I recall. I want to say that, wasn't it Tim O'Brien cut a song of yours? And I want to say, was it "I Can't Settle Down"? Is that
He
the
did,
one?
Yes, that's the one.
Yep.
That is a killer song. I'll tell you what, I just love that song.
Thank you.
Tags.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it,
we've been having a little success. One of the real popular bluegrass groups, I believe their name is Cedar Hill. Am I right about that? They've cut a number of
Frank
ours,
Ray and Cedar.
and they're just tearing up the bluegrass chart with their records.
Oh,
They're
that's
very
wonderful.
popular.
Oh, I wanted to tell you.
For some reason, they like our tunes,
Hey.
Chris on that Can't Settle Down. really, we've told very few people, but the character behind that song was our lifelong friend Gordon Wilfong that played banjo with us
Okay.
all through the years, the 70s and early 80s, and he is, passed on.
Yeah.
But he required so little, and he had a heart of gold, and he was such a fine player. But that's kind of how he lived, from couch to couch, and
Yep.
I Can't Settle Down is really about him.
I wondered about that because, I know both of you fairly well, and you're very peaceful people. You have a settled life. You have a clear vision of what you want to be and do, and you're following that path. And I thought, well, that's a great song, but
Out of character.
Roberta must have been writing that from another character point of view.
Another life, yeah.
Yes, or maybe your misspent youth. I don't know.
It was
So-
fun anyway. So we always think of him if we do that song, of course.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a beautiful thing about that. A song that is connected to somebody. Every time you sing that song, they come back in a small piece to you.
Yeah.
And I think that's a wonderful thing. So, do you have any plans to perform as the trio going forward? I mean, this
Yeah,
is a
yeah, we
beautiful
will.
sound. I love the
Yes, we
fiddle.
do.
I really
And tell
appreciate
Polly.
that.
Polly, she knows.
We will
He
be
asked
doing
us
gigs.
if
Yes.
we plan a more trio.
Yeah,
Oh,
Chris
she
is
doesn't
saying
have
that he likes
headphones.
our sound. He was
You-
hoping that
do
we'd
you-
keep playing.
and we said,
yeah,
"Oh,
we'll
yeah."
be doing some more. We have our house concert series
Yeah.
is beginning again in about a week. And we don't do a lot of them, but we'll be doing more of them.
I know
Wonderful.
you're a busy man, Chris. You
So-
could run down maybe. I'll send you.
Let me know. I'll do it anytime.
Polly's
Now-
real busy with her fiddling, but we get to pick together occasionally. Yes.
Yeah. Well,
We work
she
on
adds a
records
lot.
Yeah,
She adds a
thank you.
whole lot to the group, and she does it in a
You add
beautiful,
a whole
tasteful
lot.
manner, which is so
Oh,
rare.
I
I
appreciate
really
that.
respect what she does. I may steal her for some gig sometime if I get
I
the
wish
chance.
you would. Yes,
We've been
sir.
doing some really nice album work. She's easy to work with in the studio. One of the best I've worked with in the studio.
Oh, that's
and-
some high praise because Mark
It's just
has
really
knocked
fun.
it out of the ballpark a few times there as
oh,
well.
yeah, yeah, you're right. He'll knock it out of the ballpark.
Yeah.
You're right. But
So
Polly's
tell the
just great
folks
to work with.
a little bit about Gordon House because that's where the house concerts are, right?
That's where
Yeah,
we have them.
Gordon House was my great grandfather's property, long ago, and then my great grandfather built a brick house. And I guess I don't know what became of the original log cabin, but he built the brick house when he got back from the Vicksburg campaign. I guess it was
Ah.
about
War.
1865. And I was there a lot as a child because my dad helped my grandfather farm the property, and a little bit later I was out working the fields, so I worked the fields there for years.
Yeah.
As time went on, it fell out of the family and was out of the family for a long time, and the house was almost to fall down.
Yeah.
It's in
Yeah.
such bad shape.
Yeah. Really, really. A
I remember
beauty.
seeing it when you had done a lot of the work on the first floor. But Roberta, you took me up to the second story, and it was still in its original, deteriorated state.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's just a glorious place now. I mean,
It's completely restored. We're just loving it because people come together and have so much fun.
Oh, we
you
have,
know.
yeah. We as soon as the floors were back in and we had a bathroom, we
Yep.
started having concerts and sharing the space with people because we love our music and our friends that play, and we want to provide a place for
Yeah.
people to have the fellowship and hear all of our good friends that know how to play really tremendous music.
And we have some
that-
parties and stuff as
yeah.
well.
Well, and the room, the building itself has just such a beautiful soul to it. I love old buildings, and they just resonate to me personally. But it would be a perfect place to hear acoustic music. And is it still a guest house? Are you still letting folks?
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
guest
yeah,
house. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure,
So if
come on
anybody's down your
down.
area, that's well worth checking out.
Come on down.
Yeah.
It's been real good. It's a place where, many times I've seen farmers, because a lot of our neighbors come.
Yeah.
And I've shook hands with a farmer, might have a set of bibbed overalls on, he's a rough looking, Southern Illinois farming man. And
Hey.
I've seen tears trickle down their cheeks as they're thanking me.
Because it's
Yeah.
that close.
More
You
than
get to
once I've
hear
seen
the
it.
Yeah,
music.
no, I can believe that. Yeah, you lose pieces of history like that, and you can never replace them. You know, they are truly priceless. All right, I'll tell you what. I think we should do one more song to wrap this up. As always, it's a treat to get to visit with you, and very great to meet Polly. So why don't you bring us out with one more, and then we'll say goodbye to everybody.
All right.
Thank you so much, Chris.
And stick around after we shut down the
thank you
broadcast.
all of the viewing audience, and praise the Lord that we can all be together some again, and we've weathered this transition.
Amen.
Roberta, you think we should try and do Full Moon?
I would like to do Zion's Hill. Can we?
We could. Yeah,
Can
we
we
could
do
do Zion's
that?
Hill. Okay. Yeah. In E flat, Polly. There awaits for me a glad tomorrow, where the gates of pearl swing open wide. And when I pass this vale of sorrow, I will camp upon the other side. Someday beyond the reach of mortal kin, someday God only knows where and when. The wheels of mortal life will all stand still, and I shall go to dwell on Zion's hill. One day the storm clouds shall be lifted beyond the shadow of the tomb, and with all the bells in heaven ringing, and the angels singing home sweet home. Someday beyond the reach of mortal kin, someday God only knows where and when. The wheels of mortal life will all stand still, and I shall go to dwell on Zion's hill. There awaits for me a glad tomorrow, where the gates of pearl swing open wide. And when I pass this vale of sorrow, I shall camp upon the other side. Someday beyond the reach of mortal kin, someday God only knows where and when. The wheels of mortal life will all I shall go to dwell on Zion's hill. And I shall go to dwell on Zion's hill.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much, Gary and Roberta. Thank you, friends, for joining us. That is our show for tonight. Don't forget to join us next month on August the 21st when my friends Callie Sir will be joining us. This is a South American duo, and we will be live in the studio together. So we'll actually be playing some stuff together and talking in between shows. It's not quite back to the full boogie live and in-person thing, but we're starting a little bit. So August 21st, join us for that one. I want to thank Gary and Roberta Gordon and Polly for being with us. Beautiful playing and beautiful singing. Special thanks to Brandon O'Sullivan of Clover Digital, who keeps the Hickory Ridge Concerts virtual car out of the ditches, so to speak. And special thanks also to the Two Rivers Arts Council, Illinois Arts Council Agency, and the National Endowment for the Arts that have all supported this and make this show possible. So, thanks everyone for joining us. We'll see you next month. Stay safe. If you haven't got your vaccinations, get them soon. The sooner you do that, the sooner we're all back together. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Thank you.